What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil. And like always, my co-host, GameTime Bryan. What is going on, Bryan?
I am having a wonderful weekend. How about you? It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Start of the weekend. We have football tomorrow.
Yes.
Big Cowboy game on Sunday. I don't know what to think about this week, but you guys are making me turn the corner. I'm feeling more optimistic. So I think that game last week.
Oh man, it's enough. I mean,
maybe it's something we needed.
There was a couple of games this season that we've had that coming out of it. We feel really different about this team after the performance they had, and then they turn around and they maybe, give us a little bit of hope, and they shoot it back down. It's definitely been a roller coaster of a season, even with the injuries and what we have to deal with. But it's Friday, man. It's almost at the end of the year. It's a Friday broadcast for us. It's going to get kind of crazy here in the next couple of weeks with the Friday broadcast, the Wednesday broadcast, the days after. And once we get it all settled in, of course, each time we'll just remind you guys. But as we go to the chats, we had early people in here, like Brooklyn Joe, Rhonda, Lovely Sparks, Audio, Political. I have to say the whole thing. I can't just, I can't say just that. Angelica
Rhonda,
Baron.
We share the same last name, man. We're related.
EJB is here.
Rhonda.
Jojo, what's going on? Splash Brother, 24/7 Cowboy, Glimmer Man. I appreciate everybody being in here, and if I missed you in there, I apologize. And thank you for watching back on the replay as well, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in because I definitely see the numbers as well there.
24/7's in the house.
Yeah, it's I'm feeling pretty good about going into this weekend. Obviously, I was going to originally go to the game in Jacksonville, but I think I have just way too much going on, and the same way as you feel. Go ahead. You talk about the game a little bit.
Well, I hear you. And I was gonna go to the Tennessee game. I didn't realize it was a Thursday night game. I didn't look. I didn't look that much into the schedule. And then we're, excuse me, we're starting our stream. So it's like, I'm going to wait till the playoffs and probably hit a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally understand because you don't know which Cowboys game you're going to actually get. I mean, are you going to get the guys that are going to be resting because of the season? They're doing their whole thing about resting. Are we pushing for playoff spots? Is that Washington game on one game? And if it doesn't mean something for Washington but not mean anything for us? There's so many things that jump in the air within the last couple of weeks. But what that says is that this division is kicking ass, and I'm liking the fact that if we come away with a victory this weekend, we have clinched a playoff spot. And I like that. Out of all the outcomes that could possibly be, the OBJ's out there, everything that the Cowboys' possibilities, I like the possibility of clinching a playoff spot. So anyway, thank you, Rhonda.
It's going to happen like the OBJ thing. I don't know what's, Jerry, he's just hell-bent on getting this guy here. And
I like it.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Hit the chat.
Well, no. I was just saying that I really like it. I've had some people that were talking about the OBJ. You had Rhonda asking as well. I mean, one of the first points was obviously Brooklyn Joe talking about, that it's $1 million up front, possibly for a taxi fare from the Giants. Yeah. There's like wheeling and dealing that you're hearing, but obviously the main culprit, and I think it's really nice because David Hellman kind of put it together, was that they showed it like this, this picture of a bus and just how the media was taking it. It's like, all right, we're just going to go on our way about the OBJ thing, and bam, here comes Jerry just plowing through and just knocking all those plans out of the way and just making it irrelevant again.
How many receivers are we going to have on this team?
Hey, I'm okay.
I mean,
as many as it takes to get there.
Everybody's gonna. What's up, Gina? I hope you're not driving. It's going to be some phantom injuries. That's the only thing I can think of that are going to put, maybe Tolbert going to end up on IR. He's going to pull a hammy or something. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I can think of. Now, OBJ won't. Now, they have to make a move tomorrow by noon, I think, Saturday. With the, they have to do a move. And then if OBJ comes, he has to be on the roster, and then they make a move. They IR him. That's why, if it happens, it's going to happen this week. He has to be on IR for 4 weeks in order for him to be eligible to return. So, absolutely.
So that's where the deadline is. So even if there's not much there, of course, there's something in the sand, and of course there could be just, if you're not trying to rehab him and help him with his rehab, then there's obviously signing him, then just trying to get him onto the, into the roster. But that's just weeks and weeks away. So so we got a lot of people going in here. And Brooklyn Joe's right. He's got a Johnny Manziel crush again. Definitely, it seems that way. He's hell-bent in bringing OBJ in here. I don't know whether just to sell jerseys or the possibility of having a veteran in there, like we started talking about T.Y. Hilton, the guy that can get separation. So there's a lot of positives, but of course there's that big negative that everybody's really focusing in on. I do get the positives in the sense that in the Super Bowl, he was a possible MVP, but again, how do people bounce back from that? I mean, we've had people in the roster that have had issues going in. I mean, remember, what was it? Miles Austin. Miles Austin was an amazing, really turned down to amazing receivers, but just couldn't keep up with those hammies. Let's see, where are we at? Let's see, Glimmerman. I thought this last week would be a blowout, and this week could be a close one. I will take the win. Don't really care about OBJ if he can't play this year. No hurry. And that's where I was, once this whole conversation kind of dwindled down, I was like, well, I just want it from next year. But go ahead.
Well, here's the deal. It makes a lot of sense to get OBJ if you can get the right deal. It's going to help OBJ only because he's going to be Britt Brown is arguably the best trainer in the NFL. He's going to make you work. He will get back stronger and faster than he would if he's doing it at home, lackadaisical. If he's going to stay at home, he ain't going to be a part of the Cowboys. He needs to come in here. He needs to have Britt Brown be on his butt every day. That's how it works. Rehab is not easy, especially with a knee. He could be ready for the playoff. Yeah. No doubt at all. But he needs to get in here. But it also makes sense if you strike the right deal. Think about it.
Well, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's was incentive-based.
Playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, if he comes in and is able to help us, if he re-signs with us next year on a long-term deal, at least he's already demonstrated that he's healthy and he can play. If he signs a mega deal with somebody else, hey, we get compensation for him. So now's the time to bring him in. We'll get draft compensation if he should say, you know what, I got a better deal, and some team has all this money that they're sitting on. It makes sense on a lot of levels. Is he going to help us? I don't know, but there's only one way to find out, Bill.
Yeah.
And
I
think this money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the T.Y. Hilton move helped because T.Y. Hilton, it was like $700,000, and then everything was incentive based. If you get so many yards, if you play 30%, 30% of the snaps in each game, so there was a lot of incentive based stuff to push it into 1.5 or above, which is the number I've been hearing, 1.5, 1.8. But I think that could be as well too. I mean, OBJ thinking, okay, well, that was a healthy T.Y. Hilton coming off, obviously, and demanding that kind of money. Maybe if I was, I want $10 million this year for the rest of the year, or $5 million or whatever. We don't know what he was asking for, and so of course that's with his agent and stuff like that. But maybe now it kind of gets him more serious numbers. That he go, okay, well, if I got $1 million and I'm injured, maybe I can get incentives as well. So I mean, yeah, and you're right. There's money on the salary cap that we're just unless we're going to roll half of it to the next season. I don't see that.
At this point, we don't have 8, 10, 12, 15 million to roll over into next year.
Yeah,
the cap is going to explode. Jerry went to the owners' meetings in New York. I think it was last week. Mm-hmm. To me, that tells me he knows something. They usually give the owners a forecast of what next year's cap's going to be. So, it's going to be up there big time. Everybody said, we're going to lose this guy, we're going to lose that guy. We're going to keep every guy that we want to keep. That's the bottom line. Remember, they haven't restructured that many deals.
I'm going to bring Mike in.
Okay. They could always flip a switch on Dak's contract. They could always flip a switch on Zach Martin's contract. They could always, there's a lot. Don't forget, they're going to redo a Zeke's deal, or Zeke's going to be gone. I already told you he ain't playing for $17 million. They're going to redo the deal. I think they're bringing back Pollard.
What's going on, Mike?
Work out. I think it'll be the same amount of money that's being allotted this year that's going to be going out next year. It just might be reversed. Pollard's going to be getting the most. I mean, but that's for next year. There's plenty of money. They have to flip the switches. If they want them, they'll be here. But I just want to real quick. We have the guest coming up at 7:15.
Well, he's already
Mike
here.
Tag.
He's already here.
Oh, there he is.
Mike, welcome, man. Welcome.
I didn't even know he was in the house.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let him sit in the lobby.
What's going on?
He's coming live from the man cave. That's like the cave of all caves, man. How you doing, Mike? I'm Bryan, GameTime Bryan. That's Primetime Phil. Thanks for joining the show.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. Glad to be part of it.
I just want to say one thing. I appreciate. We need more people like you, more Cowboys fans like you, because you are so optimistic. You bring the energy.
Yes.
You're not negative. It's always, let's go Cowboys. We're going to do it. And I'm telling you, man, there's been a lot of times where this team just, it's been a long time, right? It's been a long time since we've won anything.
Been too long, man.
I just appreciate your optimism, man. There's a lot of negativity out there, and we need more people like you. So thank you so much. And I really love when you bring, I guess that's your daughter who you have, when you come barging through the door. I could dig it, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, so Mike, I mean, when I seen your videos, I mean, a lot of energy. I love it. Definitely busting through the room. So when he told me, hey, I want to bring somebody on, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely know. It's like, do I have to change my my whole setup, because I don't think I have enough energy coming from my my overlays and stuff. So, but welcome, man.
No, man. I appreciate it, man. It's being a passionate fan. I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life. Yeah. And I understand. Hey, I get frustrated. Believe me, there's plenty of times where I'm a frustrated fan. But if you're all in, you're all in. And I've never understand the fans' point of view where, it's just, we're gonna lose. We're gonna. My mind just don't think that way. I'm a competitor, and if I'm going in, I'm going in to win. And I remember those 1 in 15 years, the 5 and 11 years. Oh, yeah. I used to tell people, man, just give me a week, and I'll have you thinking we'll win. We'll probably lose, but I'll get you thinking that we're gonna win.
Listen, I don't like to date myself, but I'm 51. I live in South Jersey. I'm about a half hour over the bridge from Philly going towards Atlantic City. So I'm basically living in Eagle country. I was at the Troy Aikman game when he got sacked 11 times. I was at the Emmett game, I think it was Monday night, where he ran for over 200 yards in the driving rain. Yeah. I was there.
Look at that. Yep.
So I know, I know the feeling of this town. And listen, I got to give the Eagles credit; they're doing great. But again, I'm a Cowboy fan, and I think that our ceiling, we haven't hit our ceiling yet. That's just what I think. I mean, what's your opinion? Do you think that we've hit our ceiling and we're on the decline, or do you think we're gonna bounce back this week and we're gonna?
I had to remind some people on Twitter and some of my friends that says, the Cowboys are on the decline. Didn't we get like 54 a couple of weeks ago? I was at the game before. I was there. I could have sworn we got 54, and a couple of weeks before that, I think we dropped 40 on Minnesota. And obviously, they needed a game like that. They need a game like that, and you just cannot walk into every game thinking you're going to blow everyone out. And unfortunately, with the Cowboy fans, and hey, I said we were going to stomp them, so I was wrong. But if you don't come to play, I just got done reading Jimmy Johnson's book Swagger, and he said it in there on something else. You don't come to play. This is the NFL. It's not college football. You just don't walk on the field and stomp teams.
Yeah, and you say that, and if you were looking at a game before the season, you know how we like to go through the schedule. Go, well, that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win.
Yeah.
This Jacksonville game, it was an odd game. It was before the big divisional game. Like I was telling Phil, now I'm glad we didn't do a show the day of the game. We always do a recap show after the game, and then normally on Saturdays before the game we do our live, but we're doing it Friday tonight because Phil's got a Christmas party to go to.
Yeah. Whoop whoop.
I'm glad we didn't do a show last week, but we were able to get a win when we didn't play good. And in thinking about it, I'm like, maybe they had a letdown, but I don't know. Like, if you watch the sounds of the sidelines, but I watched it, and at no point, it was just like any other Sunday. At no point did I think, oh, well, this team didn't come to play. In the back of their mind, they're saying, that's not how it was. They got the ball, they went down, they scored a touchdown, and then Turpin fumbled, the kickoff, and it's the NFL. You leave a team in the game, you give them hope, which Dallas does that a lot in the first half of games. And I wouldn't be surprised if this Sunday, if at halftime, it's fairly close. But the good teams, after the adjustments by the coaches, which I think is one of the strong suits of the Cowboys, they come out normally and get the job done. So I think we got away with our not being ready to play, but I saw the sounds of the sidelines. They looked like they were in the game. So, I think they were ready to go, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that turnover changed the game early on. I mean, we went out and went right down the field like it was nothing. It was 3 and out. They punt the ball. We would have got it in pretty good, would have been decent field position on our second possession. I think we score again and we steamroll them. But like you said, that's how games go. And you leave these teams hanging around. They're swapping their quarterbacks. We got the one quarterback running RPOs. And I don't know if you remember, because it's like, man, I remember Driscoll. And he played, I forgot what team he played for, but he played against us. And we ended up beating him, but he gave us fits. And, it's just... They got to be ready to play, and they could have been ready to play, but they got to be hungry. And I think that game is a game you look back on and you say, you know what, that could have been the turning point. That was the wake up call that they needed, and that's what I'm hoping for this week.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. How do you feel them going into the matchup against Jacksonville?
Well, before the season, like you do the checkbox, right? You're saying win or loss. Right. This is a team I didn't want to play late in the season. I'd rather play them early. Because I think, now you're seeing Trevor Lawrence is getting going. The offense is getting moving. They're finding some rhythm. They're putting up some points. So this isn't going to be this isn't going to be a gimme. Now, I think we'll win. I'm driving up there tomorrow morning. So they better, I'm not going
now, where are you
back
at,
with
Tampa?
empty pockets. So what?
Now, where are you at? Are you in Tampa?
I'm in Tampa.
Yeah, and Phil's is in Naples. He's in Naples.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's not far from you. So he was going to go to the game, but he's not going.
Yeah.
But,
so I almost had an extra ticket, but my nephew's going, and he's the one I brought to the Broncos game. So I already told him, I said, if you lose this game, you're walking home. You're never coming home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was worried. I was worried when we wore the red stripe a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh no, but it was total opposite. And then I looked at the record whenever we wear the red stripe, and overwhelmingly, we win. But of course, we're,
Cowboy fans always got to find the negative.
Yeah, it was the last game. That was about as ugly a game as you could watch.
Oh, yeah.
Time they got the ball, it was boom, boom, boom.
Well, yeah, we're definitely Cowboy Nation. So, I mean, we have a lot of different types of crowds. You got the negative, you got the positives, you got the ones that are in the middle. And then, of course, you got the ones that makes bets during preseason. So, definitely.
Yeah, well, listen. At the end of the day, I live in Eagleville. It's like they hate Dallas. It doesn't matter what we do. I'm sure you've been to the games. In Philly.
I haven't been to Philly. I wouldn't give them none of my money.
Really?
Thank you.
Well,
good. That's what I like. That's what I like. Good.
Dallas could be, undefeated, and Dallas sucks. I'm going back early. And the people in the chat know, because I've said this before. I was born in the early 70s. I don't remember the Super Bowl against Miami. I remember I was a kid in school. I remember reading about it, but I wasn't a real rabid fan. My first initial fandom was being upset. It was back-to-back years against the Steelers, and I remember losing it all. And then I went my whole adolescent life, and it wasn't until I was out of high school that we won in '92. I was actually in Dallas, for the Cowboy Eagle game that Jim McMahon was quarterbacking for the Eagles. That's how long it was.
Oh, wow.
So, and then we won in '92, we won in '93, and then we won in '95. My youngest son, who's now 18, has never, he's a big Cowboy fan. He has never seen Dallas win anything other than maybe, 2 playoff games?
Yeah.
It's time, but the Eagles fans they don't care. They'll never give us respect. That's just how it is. What are your comments about Micah Parsons out of context, because we all know exactly, if anybody watched the interview or even looked into it, we get a lot of people that come in here and run their mouth saying, "No, Michael Parsons." He was asked a question by Von Miller, and he answered it honestly. What's your opinion on the whole Michael Parsons?
Well, I grew up in Miami, so I'm a Miami Hurricane fan too. So
Michael Irvin,
talking is never, you're never afraid of that. I've never been one to shy back from saying how I feel, and if you need that to motivate you, then then you're already defeated in my eyes. So I didn't have an issue with what he said. He's the type of player, he can say it. If it was some scrub on our team, then maybe you could take it a little bit different. But Micah Parsons, let him back it up, and I'll be there Christmas Eve, and you just let all these Eagle fans, if any of the haters are out there, these eyes have never seen the Cowboys walk out of that stadium with a loss. We beat them every time I've been there, and that's going back.
You better go then.
We ain't losing Christmas Eve.
That's what I like to hear. That's
well, I've been telling Phil that's all I want. I think the Eagles credit, they keep winning. Earlier in the season, they were winning ugly, but now they're rolling people. I'm not that type of fan where I'm a Dak fan, so I gotta hammer Jalen Hurts. That's not how I am. I'm gonna give Jalen Hurts credit. Now, I think Micah Parsons has, what he says is true. I mean, he has a great team around him.
I think it's like
Tua. I'm not gonna shit on Jalen Hurts. He's having a great year.
No.
More power to him. People forget Dak had 37 touchdowns and 10 INTs, 4,400 yards passing, and he was, leading the MVP race for most of the year last. I think people forget that and think all of a sudden, he sucks again. That's the narrative. I'm tired of hearing it. Dak is 7-3 against the Eagles.
Yep.
Come on, man, let's go.
Their last 2 wins against us, they beat our backups. Maybe they don't want to hear that, but that's the fact.
I'm sorry, Ben DiNucci. Yeah, that was ugly. And
well, it doesn't matter whether it's fact made up or anything.
Phil?
They don't want to hear it. Yeah,
I think it was 3 points.
We were down by
5 minutes ago last game.
Then they got
Cooper Rush.
So no, I'm definitely liking it. I like our odds. I like our defense. I think that was the biggest shocker to me. I knew our defense was going to improve. I mean, I just didn't see it doing that big of a leap with the extra pieces. I mean, of course, you always take a gamble when you're bringing in young pieces. What do you think about the young group core that's going to be our future? What do you think about them?
No, I mean, people forget we're a young team. I think we're probably, third youngest in the NFL. I mean, this defense is built to last. The concern that I have, if you're going to say going down the stretch, these injuries are starting to pile up, right? So Anthony Brown, I know a lot of people hate him, but he was a starting caliber, cornerback. Jay Lou, people forgot we lost him. So I mean, you got Diggs, and now you got your 4th and 5th corner as your other 2 starters. So that's the concern I have, especially going up against the Eagles. You got to give them credit. I mean, I give them crap, but I mean, I got to be real too. They've been impressive. I thought that they would start stumbling a little bit, and it hasn't happened.
Same here.
I don't know if we're going to catch them. I don't think we're going to catch them. I already got my tickets for Tampa because I have a feeling that's where we're playing. So I already got my playoff tickets set just in case we go there.
Dude, man, he's ready. Yeah, we're good buddies with Mark Holmes. We live stream with him a lot, and if there's a playoff game in Dallas, we're going. If it's in Tampa, we're going. Hey, listen, we might be in Carolina.
Yeah, he's all like, if it's in the United States, we're going.
If you look at the schedule, it's not that much of a far-fetched. That wouldn't be bad either. Because everybody's talking about Tom Brady like we're gonna. Hey, listen, obviously, I want to beat Tom, and I think we can beat him, but we haven't beaten him yet. So
I wouldn't be disappointed if we had to go to Carolina or Atlanta, but I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, Tampa, they're reeling, and the fans around here, they're they don't know what's going on, and Tom just doesn't look the same. You know how it is. Some of these quarterbacks, man, they hit that wall pretty quick. You saw it happen with Peyton Manning. And some of these other guys.
True.
What is your? I'm going to get your take on it since you're. You know what you're talking about. What do you think they should do on the O-line? Because I'm hearing Tyron Smith at right tackle.
Yeah.
And he went up to the coaches and volunteered. That's impressive that he would do that. And they're saying how great he's looking in practice. I mean, what would you do with the offensive line?
I'm putting my 5 best wherever they're at, and I think the one thing I'm not doing, I'm not putting Ball out there. That's the one thing I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
And thankfully, our coaches were smart
that.
enough to take him out. But definitely, I would put Smith, Tyron at left tackle, Peters right tackle, and Tyler Smith over guard. But I mean, I trust the coaches. I think the one negative which kind of bothers me with some fans is they don't give McCarthy the credit. Yeah. I think they jump on the narratives that the media wants to do. I mean, you see Shannon and
I don't
all those
watch
guys,
that.
Stephen A. It's all for
I don't watch it anymore.
Show.
Yeah, well, they go into the show saying, okay, you're going to be pro, you're going to be anti. Just like there's one guy, well, there's 2 guys right now. You got Dan Orlovsky and you have J.D. McCoy. I don't know if you've seen him.
Oh, yeah,
he's been on a roll. Let me just tell you, the police in Philly, the half hour away over the bridge, they can't stand Shady McCoy. He's a low-life dirtbag. Sorry, that's what he. I mean, he would go out in the nightclubs and he would be nothing but problems. All of a sudden now he hates Dak. Like I said, people have short memories, but like you said, it has nothing to do with Dak, or he's just trolling. Yeah, and he's an Eagle fan.
That's how you get paid. Those guys, all those guys are getting paid millions, and they all ride it. I mean, you cannot watch ESPN, NFL Network. They talk about them all the time. So again, McCarthy back-to-back double-digit wins. What he's done with having Dak hurt, the decisions that they've made personnel-wise. I mean, you got to give the guy credit. And I know the fans for some reason, a lot of them don't want to give him the credit he deserves, but. He just wants to play. He just wants to focus on coaching football and let Jerry do what Jerry does. He's not an ego-driven guy. So I'm happy with McCarthy. I hope we get some playoff wins because that'll really get people off his back. And
there would be nothing more I would like than to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to get into. Like everybody talks about how like our window is now. I don't know what people are watching. We're literally the 3rd youngest team in the league, and that's with Jason Peters.
Yep. I think that brought our average up quite a bit. Yeah, I know.
We're young. I mean, just look. We got Deron Bland, who the sky is the limit for this guy. Yeah. He was a 5th-round pick who wasn't invited to the combine.
See, my whole thing with Deron Bland.
Combine, yet,
when I look at Deron Bland, like you say, the sky's the limit. But like with him, I feel like there's footprints on the moon. Like it's a little bit more. It's just right now he's in the sky and he's just on his rookie year. I mean. I like his trajectory, where he's going. It definitely was a little bit more of a surprise because obviously I was expecting J-Lu to kind of be that guy that Bland was being. And then you see Bland just when he comes in, he's made plays. I mean, don't get me wrong, every person is going to get beat, but I liked how he forgets it, goes to the next play, and he makes a play. So I like the secondary compared to what Chidobe Awuzie, Byron Jones, where we weren't getting those turnovers. And so now you got guys that are turning the ball over because you have a front that's getting a hell of a pressure. You've seen some stuff with the running game, but how do you see what do you think about like the linebackers compare and with the our defensive linemen getting that pressure? How do you like that compared to previous years? How do you see that going again forward?
Yeah, no, I mean it's been a huge difference. I mean it's been huge difference the last 2 years. You got to give obviously credit to Quinn for the scheme, but I mean you got Dorrance Armstrong. I mean it was just. Not that long ago, everyone was bashing Dallas for signing Armstrong, getting rid of Gregory, and boy, that seems to work out. They've drafted well with the linebackers of speed, and I think that's the X factor for against Philly. Because all right, Philly's a measuring stick. You got to give them the credit. Sure. The record's there. We'll call it what it is. How do we beat them? We've got the personnel on defense that can do it. The key is going to be discipline, right? So we can sideline their running backs and Jalen Hurts and all that, and we can get pressure on them. We just got to stay disciplined. But I love this defense. Quinn will probably be gone next year, right? Yeah. So he may get a head coaching job, but I think they've set a pretty good foundation. Again, to your point, years to come. This isn't a one and done. I mean, our core guys are in the prime, or younger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mark Holmes, I did bring your name up, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Let's get to the chat a little bit. We're going to see an experimental rotation this week on the O-line. Yeah, I agree, Glimmerman. Finding the best 5. Peters can't go a whole game. Yeah, I don't think they're going to play Peters a whole game. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to see Ball get some play. I think Ball's going to get a series here and there. That's the only thing I don't like because McCarthy did come out and go, well, he played 26 snaps in Josh Ball, and 24 of them he did pretty good. Well, the other 2, he almost got Dak's head taken off. So that's, me, like Josh Ball needs, if you want to get him a series here, let's just hope that doesn't cost him. Yeah, but I don't see Peters being the full-time answer. I actually just think of this, Mike and Phil. Just think of, in a running situation, you have Zach Martin at right guard, you have Tyron Smith at right tackle, and then you bring Peters in to play a tight end.
Back.
On the right side.
Like pull back. Oh no.
Come on, man. I'm not gonna get. I don't want to weird anybody out, but that's friggin' exciting. Yes. There. Who is gonna stop that? I mean,
send Peters in motion.
The Governor's playing really good at left guard, and the kid you leave at left tackle. Man, that's exciting. If we do that, if we can't get 1 yard on the goal line with that lineup,
then we're in trouble.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
I'm looking at it.
I look at the offensive line. I think that was a big concern for me because obviously we were looking at Walesko and we were looking at Josh Ball as our backups, and we didn't have hope of a Jason Peters. But that's one thing I will give this coaching staff credit for. I don't like Philman too much, but I like him more than I like Kellen Moore. So, but when you look at what they've done, I wouldn't have taken that offensive lineman, but it's panned out. Terrence Steele doing this thing before his injury. You obviously got Tyler Smith doing his thing. McGovern is even doing his thing as well too. So I agree with you, Mike. When you say that people don't give enough credit to the coaching staff when it comes to this offensive line. We've seen them being able to push the pile when it comes to the running game. Not as great when the passing game. What do you think? When you're looking at our needs, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, obviously, because we got this whole season ahead of us. But when you look at a need for corner, you look at a defensive tackle that possibly for the run game, and you look at offensive line. What do you think is the biggest concern going into the offseason for this Cowboy team?
Well, I won't date myself, but I'm a mid-70s guy, so that'll give you the timeline. So I do remember the 90s. I was in my senior year of high school when they were going to win their first championship. And when I was a kid, I was a draft junkie, and they used to have the draft on Saturday. It was all day, and I would sit there. Me and my brothers and stuff, we'd watch all the time. And nothing would piss me off more is when the Cowboys wouldn't draft a receiver, cornerback, running backs. I always wanted the glam.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I started to realize the game's won in the trenches. So for me, you can never have enough good to great offensive linemen and defensive tackles because that's where the game's won. So that's where I think they need to focus to get some depth on that offensive line. Cornerback, is depth's again an issue, and you don't know what Kelvin Joseph. My son swears by him. He said, "Dad, just wait. He's gonna."
Now is that the rap career?
He's gonna show his stuff. Bland, you like. Brown. It seems like he's kind of maybe fallen out of favor of Cowboys Nation. So I think secondary is something they're gonna have to look at too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is before we're getting injuries and stuff, but I was saying I still think we're gonna bring back Steele. I do. I think Steele was having an unbelievable year. I really do. He's young. He was having a good year. How he got to the second level. I think he's going to have a long career. So I don't think he's going anywhere. But I would say that the defensive back, I was going to think would be number one. Possible DN. Speaking of DN, Armstrong he practiced today. So even though he had a walking boot and people got scared, he's going to play this week. That's more of a precaution before they get the film. The MRIs. He just banged it up. It was literally on the last play of the game last week. But Armstrong's in. Ferguson is out with a concussion. Micah didn't practice today. Yeah. He's dealing with some stuff. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's something we'll find out after the year. Bill called for a couple sacks last week. They got no sacks as a team. So that was concerning. If we have to start blitzing with our backups playing, on the back end, that could be an issue. So we need to get back to getting pressure with 4 or 5 guys. But I'm thinking defense. Defense is back in the draft, but it's early. Let's pray about this. It's early. But yeah, Phil, get to the chat. Look, what do we got going on here?
Well, I was just looking and seeing that Rhonda has her grandchildren, and so I felt very bad for her. And she's probably just coming in and out of the chat because she's running around the house trying to keep up with them. So hopefully, good luck, Rhonda, with your grandkids. But as we're talking, I think we have a lot of trash talking as well too, and some of it is directed towards Mike and his Miami Hurricanes. You got Angelica, which is an FSU fan.
Come on, man, the Hurricanes.
So I definitely get it on that set. So, but no, man, we got a lot of great guys going in the chat. They're going amongst themselves, talking about, just talking about what the upcoming Tyron Smith, and Jeff SoCal thinks that Tyron Smith will be better at the right tackle than Steele was. It's hard to argue that, even if it is a position that he's not used to. But I mean, it's like saying, hey, well, catch with your other hand, CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. It's just. He's such a pro that, it doesn't really concern you that he's going over to the other side. Concerned me a little bit more for Tyler Smith because, I didn't want him to jump over because we saw what happened to Terrence Steele when they decided, hey, let's stick him to the left side, and then he wasn't the same for the rest of the season. But when we look at here, everybody's talking about their age because you guys got that chat going. And yeah, exactly. So SoCal says Cowboys will win this game and next week will be deflated. So, sometimes that's what you see. And statistically, you've seen this team where they've come out and they've, had a bad game, but they've just, historically they've come out and they've whooped ass the next week. And that's what I see coming into this game. How do you see the matchup against Jacksonville, Mike, before Bryan takes over about this part? So.
Well, I think that, like I said, it's not a game I wanted to. I'd rather play them early than late in the season. I think Lawrence is he's gonna make some plays, but I think our defense is gonna answer the call. I think there was a little, they didn't play terrible last week, but I think they want to go out and prove something. And I think Dak wants to go out, obviously, and prove something. We've got the running game. I think we'll control it. I don't think we're gonna win a blowout by any stretch, but I think we'll win comfortably. And hopefully no injuries, but I don't see you don't get let down games when you're playing in a rivalry, in our division. I don't know too many let down games against the Giants or Washington or Philly. So yeah, I'm not anticipating that at all.
Yeah, I wonder what the crowd's going to be like in
It'll
Duval.
Be very pro Cowboys.
You think? Yeah, I'm thinking.
So. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Listen, the only anybody we got to worry about, Zay Jones, he could be an issue, and ETN hasn't really. He's been on a downturn, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I would just say if Lawrence, we don't seem to do well against running quarterbacks. We need to be cognizant that he could, get out of the pocket. They are in the mindset that they could still win that, division. So it's not like they're just running out the string or they're playing with no fear. They think they can win the division still. They think Tennessee is not all that, which I'm agreeing with that, even though we have to go to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. It's funny how the Eagles get all these tough games at home, other than tomorrow. On Sunday, they're going to go to Chicago. So that should be interesting because we played Chicago. And if one thing about the Bears is true, is they are one physical football team. So that's good, knowing that we play them next week.
Yeah, I think Mike is right. I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence right now going into this. I mean, he's on a roll. He's getting Peterson's offense. He's kind of putting it into play. It's looking really good. He's getting to his receivers. He's got a receiver right now that's about 900 yards receiving in Kurt. So there is that. If you look back at Trevor Lawrence's career, I mean, he's definitely used to those big games. I remember him in Remember the Titans. I think he had a big game in there. And then back in college, I mean, he of course, national championship, man. So he's used to big games going against big defenses. So I expect him to be, even Jacksonville, has had that, slim, narrow, even when they're losing, it's been kind of close sometimes. The defense has kept them in games. And of course, the defense, when you look at it, I mean, not the greatest ranking. You got the offense that's ranked 10th. You got the passing game that's ranked 4th. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a day where you can't go in thinking about the Eagles game. And I just don't see that happening. You hear a lot of the trash talking where they're like, oh, they're looking past to Jacksonville. Why? Because there was an interview and they asked him a question. I just don't see that. They just want to jump on every single thing that they can.
It was taken out of context.
Yeah, I agree. And
You
so,
know,
I mean,
they're looking at anything. I don't know what Mike thinks about the Eagles coach, but man, is he a clown?
I can't stand him.
He was walking into the
annoying.
tunnel after they beat our backup quarterback, saying, "How about them Eagles? Listen, man, you got to start stealing our lines."
Yeah.
Then come on, man, stop. I mean,
and then they beat the Colts, and it's like he won the Super Bowl. I mean, and
they
that's
beat
fine.
the Colts.
I don't
Listen,
want to hate
and
on
like
excitement. It's just
right.
he goes past that. He goes to that annoying.
He's this.
Part.
He's like a I don't know, like a young college coach without any. I mean, he's wearing. I didn't see any shirt. He actually wore a hoodie and a hat the other day that had underdog. In what world are you the underdog, bro?
Yeah.
How are you an underdog? You're blowing everybody out. You're the. That's the one thing me and Phil have been talking about, and we joined Mark, who's been in the chat on his lives. I like where we're at as far as not everybody's saying how great we are. I like the fact that literally not once this year has somebody said we're the team to beat. To me, we're in a good spot. Let's be the team just below the Eagles. All the pressure is on them. They are trying to use every little thing, like the Micah thing, to say they're talking, nobody likes us. Underdog. You're not an underdog, dude. You're expected to win. So what's going to happen? Are you going to win? Are you going to spit the bit this week at Chicago? I've given them credit. They have gone out and won these games impressively. But if we go back earlier in the year, they won the game, but you saw the Arizona game. The dude missed a chip shot field goal. Carson Wentz had the ball at Wentz at the balls over Mark's house for that one. We were streaming. I think you were in Dallas that week because I was going to have you on that week. You were in Dallas.
Yeah.
He was at the goal line. Instead of running the ball, 4 times, they decided to throw the ball. They screwed that one up. The Colts game, they should have lost. The whole game, they were getting manhandled. And then give them credit. They put a drive down. But like I was telling Phil last week, the one thing we could look at is got off to a good start last week. It all went downhill, but then I can't tell you how hard. You guys know. Anybody that knows football knows how hard it is. Home, away, I don't care, against another NFL team to drive 98 yards and put the ball in the end zone. That's not easy to do. So there's going to be carryover. That's why I said I'm glad we didn't do a show right after the game because I wasn't happy. I was deflated. I'm like, man, I expected more from this team. But after able to calm down, I think we could use that and take it into this week, and I'm feeling really good. We're getting to. I mean, every week, I'm a mailman, so I always go into the box. I got my official prediction, so in a little bit we'll dig into that. But I want to get into the NFC East lines. We got the Eagles plus 9.5 on the road. That's a lot, man. I don't know. I think I would take the points in there. I might even tee it up a little bit, but 9.5. At Chicago. That's a lot
in the NFL.
That's a lot on the road in a cold weather. It's a cold place. You got the Commanders -5 at home against the Giants. That's a lot. Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's a lot. I mean, and then you got the Panthers -3 against the Steelers. Who knows? The Bucs are an underdog at home against the Bengals, which I thought that was interesting. The Bucs are plus 3.5 at home against the Bengals. So no,
they're struggling.
Yeah,
it doesn't look so good.
You would know. You're right there. I mean, Brady's struggling in court too.
But I just to your point though on the division, just a thought, and I've said it before, is the best thing that happened to the Cowboys, the best thing that could have happened for the Cowboys is the Eagles, Washington, and the Giants to be good. Last year they all sucked, but them and they cruised. Now Dallas has got to be battle tested every week, and we'll see what happens in Philly. They beat Philly. There's still one loss from Philly, one slip up from taking the division and going to 1 seed. So I think this is going to make the team better because I was at that playoff game last season and we got knocked around and you could just see that we just kind of coasted to the end and that fire wasn't there like it was in San Francisco. They had to fight their way just to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm hoping that, I don't know about you, I know Phil, he wants to be able to have to play just like me through, the whole year. I mean, let's get the job done on Sunday. let's beat the Eagles. That's going to guarantee us that we're going to at least go into the Tennessee game with 2 weeks left to go.
Yeah.
And we have to play. The last thing I want is we had to rest our guys. We're locked into the fifth. I don't want that because that's never normally a good thing. What do you think, Phil?
No, I mean, I know the road that I would love to see them take, and as a story, you had the Cinderella story. They go through Tampa Bay and beat Tom Brady finally in the playoffs, and get a revenge game against San Francisco, and then finish it up by beating Philly in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. Of course, there's that storybook, but when you really think about it,
we would see them in the divisional. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it's kind of there. It could happen depending on how the South the South. Nobody wants that division. They're kind of just trying to give it to each other to try to get a better draft. I don't know what's going on over there, but again, they've shown in the past against the Giants, of course. If you get hot at the right time, you can be a threat. And of course, you can't write Tom Brady off totally. I mean, that kind of showed the other game. I mean, you look how terrible of a game he was playing, then all of a sudden he came back in the last drive. Everybody wants to give him credit. Of course, Dak doesn't get that same credit when he's not having the greatest game, and then all of a sudden he drives 98 yards where he was the only incomplete pass was the drop that Gallup got pretty smashed in the end zone, and I don't blame him for dropping that, but you got to give just like they want to give Hurts all this credit. It's just you got to give Dak credit as well. He's proven time and time again that he can bring this team back. I've seen games where I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be kind of over, and he does not. He just keeps doing it. He just keeps chipping away at those numbers, and then all of a sudden there's a chance at the end. And I think going in these next couple of weeks, there's always the possibility of getting better, and that's where I see where T.Y. Hilton. What do you think about the signing of T.Y. Hilton in this offense? What do you think he's going to bring, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good signing. I think they're they do have some depth issues and maybe experience issues at wide receiver. I guess Amari Cooper, that whole thing. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe this acknowledges it. Maybe they should have thought about it. But he's not going to make or break us getting to the Super Bowl. He's not going to hurt. I mean, it was the same thing with OBJ, and I know Jerry's still talking about that. Yeah. I don't think either one's would have made or break our chances. Wouldn't hurt. But I think he'll be a good signing. I think you line him up. Obviously, you can move CD, keep moving him around. So it just gives him a lot more flexibility, on the offense. And Kellen Moore, I just don't want Kellen Moore to get so pass happy like he did last week. Let's still not forget that 21 and 20. I mean, they're a dynamic duo. They can do some damage. So don't forget about them.
Yeah, they can. So what do you
think
about
Hutchin? Hello, Primetime, Game Time. Hope everything is good. Jeff SoCal. Bears can beat the Eagles. Chase Claypool is out for the Bears.
I think
Chase Claypool's always hurt.
I don't think Chicago has the
Colts
passing game that your threat. That's the threat. It's more the running game for Chicago, whether it's the quarterback running, whether it's their running back. So I think that's, of course, the Eagles' weakness on defense is, of course, the running game. So I think that's why you have to give Chicago a chance, and I think that's why
not with Jordan Davis. Not with Jordan Davis. He's gonna revolutionize the game, right? He's only on the field for maybe 2 downs. They give up a lot for Jordan Davis to stop the run. He's always hurt, but whatever.
But let me jump back.
Colts Cowboys. I remember we had the best line in football. Zeke was in his prime, and he had Jason Witten. And a good wide receiver core. People criticized Dak and said he's only as good because of the weapons. That's a good good take by Coles.
There's maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you can name that you can say don't need a supporting cast. I mean, almost every quarterback needs. You got to have weapons around. You got to have a supporting cast.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a team game, football.
Yeah.
Absolute Beast says Ball had some good plays that game. He and it's true. I mean, Ball did have some stuff. I think he kind of reminds me of in the young developing stages of Terrence Steele. You're hoping that's the potential that's there. Of course, that first year not being around because he got the injury. That's where I was more concerned about with Ball. I think with Walesko is more, can you be available to try to learn from this trial by fire kind of was what they like to do. It's just next man up. And What do you think about that? The culture that Mike has brought, that the next man up, it's different from Jason Garrett's next man up because that one seemed more robotic. What do you think about his whole philosophy and what he's brought, that swagger that he's brought to this team? I know you've said that you're a fan, but what do you think about everything else, those little things like dealing with Jerry and all that? How do you think he's handled that?
No, I mean, I think he's got the personality to deal with Jerry because Jerry wants to, again, if you listen to a lot of Jimmy, not to keep plugging Jimmy Johnson's book, but I just got done with it. So he had some great insight with Jerry. Yeah, Jerry's going to be Jerry, and you got to have the mindset to deal with him. And I think McCarthy's that way. He wants to focus on football. And look what he's done with the backups. Look at the one, like I said, Dak is out. I remember after week 1, I was there. Everyone said, it's over. The season's over. This is that. And like, man, we got a long way to go. Let's just see what happens. Sure enough, I mean, they go 4-1 with Cooper Rush. He's done it before, even in Green Bay. If you remember, we played him against Green Bay's backup, and we got him $25 million in Seattle, and he never saw another snap in Seattle after he signed that contract. So he does a very good job, and I'll go back to that. I think his name was Chaz Green. I was at the game in Atlanta.
Green.
Right?
Oh my God!
You were at that debacle. Getting killed, and Garrett did nothing about it.
He would not send help. He wouldn't chip. He wouldn't do nothing. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Are you trying to embarrass the game? And that's funny you say that, Mike, because coming into the year, me and Phil, we started to, he's had the channel, and then I came on board, and we started doing our lives when the season started. But we started at the draft, and we were doing some stuff. And my main fear about Tyler Smith was the whole Chaz Green. I mean, coming into the year, when Tyron got hurt, we're like, oh my God, we're going to put this guy out to the left tackle, and we're going to ruin this poor kid. And it was quite the opposite. Like I was telling Phil, I said, for him to not play every series right now may be a good thing. To give Tyler just a step back, I don't think that's why, but it sounds like they're going to keep him at left tackle. But I feel like he's hitting that wall because the last couple of games he's kind of been struggling a little bit. Yeah. He's a rookie, but man, he's surpassed my expectations. You brought up Chaz Green, and I was like, I don't want to ruin this kid, because we were going up, I think we had to play the Bengals, and I'm like, oh my God, Tyron just got hurt. But it worked out well, man.
No, the best thing that happened for him, I mean, honestly, it worked out. It made our line better. Now you're getting Tyron back. We all knew he was going to get hurt. It doesn't matter when. So it happened early in the season. So hopefully we've got him for the stretch run. Hopefully he stays healthy, and we've got that for sure.
I think Tyron retires after the year because that's the rumblings that if we ever tried to trade him like before the season, he was just going to retire.
Yeah. I mean, his cap number's so good for an offensive lineman. That's the intriguing part for the Cowboys. I think that keeps him on there. It's a nice cap number for.
Now you might have to bring him back. Right. Hey, if he's going to play right tackle, and you're probably not going to have Steele at the start. Maybe get another year out of him. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Glimmerman, JG said at halftime he would get Chaz help, and he didn't do it. No. Messed up young Dak's internal clock for a while.
So one thing Bryan was talking about
was the Dan Quinn team, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, was it? Yeah, it was. One thing he was talking about was the draft,
in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, the guys that we jumped on, I know I was happy with was the Jake Ferguson signing. What do you think about this young tight end group? Do you think Dalton Schultz will be back after this?
No. It's a money thing. Ferguson's, he looks so good. Hendershot looks good. I just don't see them paying. There's only so much money, and they're going to have to pay Diggs. CD's going to be coming up, right? So they're gonna have to put up some money. Pollard, obviously, they'll figure what they're going to do with Zeke. I'm sure he's going to have to take a big pay cut, or they'll probably, unfortunately move on from him because the cap number's too high. Yeah. But
I think that's all going to work itself out. Honestly, I think Zeke's going to redo his deal. He won't play under. He won't. I think it's like close to 17 mil. That's not going to happen. Yeah. They'll redo a deal, kind of like a Lawrence thing. I think Pollard stays. Everybody goes, oh, he's gone, definitely gone. They might franchise him. I agree with Mike. I think that Schultz, a boring, unbelievable run. Even if so, Dallas loves those comp picks. I would say that if Schultz is gone, I think Pollard's going to stay. They really haven't flipped too many switches. Not to mention that the cap is going to go through the roof. They're going to keep who they want to keep. They're not going to lose anybody that they want to keep. That's not going to happen. It's just they're going to make a decision now. I'm actually excited that Jerry's still around because, Cap Boy, Steven, he's going to do what's good for the bottom line. He wants to, and listen, I love that idea. He wants to stay relevant every year. And I always joke with Phil. I mean, you can see my closet downstairs. I got more Cowboys. I'm sure, obviously, looking at your room, you're the same way, Mike. I got more stuff. They make a hell of a lot more money to stay relevant, even if they don't get to the Super Bowl through the holidays, through Thanksgiving, as opposed to let's go win a Super Bowl and then let's go win 4 or 5 games in a couple years. Kind of like the Rams. The Rams fell off the face of the earth. Rams are in cap hell for a year.
They knew what they were doing.
The cap is going to explode. So I think we're going to bring back anybody we want to bring back, and our team has shown that we got to draft. It's just I get frustrated, and Phil knows this, that we don't seem to go out and add that 1 or 2 piece to get us over the top. I'd rather do that, but it is.
Yeah, I think they got a little. I think they still nervous. I think they got a little gun shy from some of their past, earlier years back when they went all in on some guys that
Roy
failed.
Williams,
and the thing is you got to give McClay credit. I mean, they have struck gold in their draft the last few years. I mean, if you really look at the talent they brought in, but on the flip side, you're putting a lot of pressure. I mean, everyone came into this season. Tyler Smith, is he going to be at Ferguson? You have all the Bland. You got all these rookies. Tolbert was a draft pick that hasn't panned out for him.
He's going to have a phantom injury. You watch. Tolbert's going to pull a hammy or something to make room. You watch. Because they're going to make a move. Yeah, because they're going to make a move tomorrow, and I'll be curious to see what happens. So we'll see. And if they bring OBJ on, he's got to be on the roster. Then that's why if OBJ happens, it has to happen this week. Because he needs to be on IR for for the 4 weeks. So, we'll see about that. But you did bring up, like our draft. The only problem that, other than this year, with Sam Williams, I love Sam Williams. His upside is through the roof. It's our second round picks have been kind of shady. I'm with you. I think you said your son wants to, them to play boss man. I think that's the best thing that can happen for the next 4 weeks. We're in the playoffs. You know that. Whether we're the first seed or most likely it's going to be the 5th seed. It's just the way it is. You need to play boss man fat as much as you can. He's not a guy that you play off the line of scrimmage. He needs to be up in the receiver's face. That's where he's at his best. He can't let a guy get a free release. So, I'm with your son. We need to get boss man as many reps as we can before the playoffs to see if we need to bring guys like Trayvon Mullen, who we picked up, who's Mackenzie Alexander we picked up. He's a good slot-only guy from what I was watching. Bryan brought us. I respect Bryan a lot. He's a slot-only guy, but that's fine. We need to see this kid play. So
no doubt. But I mean, I don't have a ton of faith on guys that you pick up now. It makes me wonder why they're playing, but I know we need depth, so hopefully they can.
Well, it's a depth thing, but I do know Mackenzie Alexander is a slot-only guy, so it's good to have the bodies.
Oh, absolutely.
We have more depth. We have more depth this year than I can remember in a long time, and I think we're a stronger, more physical team than we were last year. I remember you saying you were at the Niner game. A buddy of mine, I was in Dallas in June. With a group of us, we went and rehabbed a home in Plano for one of our subscribers. He passed away, and his last dying wish was for us to go to his house, rehab his home, and for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
Wow!
I'll have to send you that video, Mike. You'll have to. You'll get a kick out of that, man. We went down to Plano, me, Mark Holmes, and a bunch of us. We rehabbed. The whole thing was set up for us to go down there, meet him in person for the first time. We were involved with him for years on Mark's channel, and he passed away a week before we went there. It was just a rapid thing, but we took care of his mother. We redid her home. We had to people who did AT&T, they put a roof on the house. It was awesome. But we went to the memorial, and his last dying wish was for the Cowboys. So that's why in the back of my head, because there's been a lot of weird things happen this year. Phil can attest. It's almost like that he has something going. He's involved somehow. So we still got Stuart Morrison there. He's still I think he's on our side, man. I think I was telling Phil something special is going to happen. But either way, let's go Cowboys, man.
No, absolutely. And I tell you, the living in Florida, obviously growing up in the era you didn't have social media and everything that. So, getting into social media the last, 4+ years, meeting a lot of Cowboy fans, obviously getting to, being lucky enough to get an opportunity to go to some games. It's just been, it's a family. And that's why I tell people, it's like when I go to these games, I got these family members that I only see at games, and it's just such a great bond. And I've got to meet so many good people through social media and stuff, and all these great Cowboy fans. And it's a special group. There's no, I'm biased, but I don't think there's a better fan base than the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not sure what game I'm getting to, but I'll hit you up if you're going to be there. We'll have to hang out. Tailgate and hit it up, man.
Definitely.
So now we have to get to
always
the point.
Looking for a reason to go.
Yeah, so now we get to the point where we actually have to give a results for this upcoming game against the Jacksonville. Try to jump into the scores and see what everybody in the chat, what do you guys think the victory is going to be? Who do you think is going to win? I know who MG thinks is going to win. He's always against the Cowboys. But, I will start it off that way. You can get, Mike, you can get it in your head about what you think the score is going to possibly be. I think the Cowboys are going to win. I think, I can see us really, coming out here and kind of just blowing Jacksonville away, but I don't, obviously we don't just have that happen with the Cowboys. So historically, I'm right behind the fact that we do come out, we do play better after a game that we should have played in a certain way, but we obviously didn't live up to the expectation. So it's not a loss. So I mean, it feels like that way for a lot of Cowboy fans. But, I can see us getting on a rhythm very early. I can see Kellen Moore, calming it down, getting the running game started, getting that play action going. I can see us getting ahead and then staying ahead and letting our defense kind of do its thing against Trevor Lawrence. I see it more of a 31-19 victory. I see it being, close to the third quarter, but then, of course, we pull away as well. So, Mike, before because obviously with Game Time, Bryan, he likes to deliver the mail there and see what it is. So, Mike, tell us, what do you think is going to be the outcome? What do you think is going to be the score?
Yeah, it's crazy because you and I are almost – the number that came to my head was almost the same as yours. I have Dallas 31-22.
Okay.
I think Cowboys will stay ahead most of the game, for all the game. I think they'll start fast. They'll stay ahead. I think Jacksonville's going to put up a fight, but I think this defense is going to have something to prove, and I think Dak's going to have a big game. I think he's definitely looking to rebound from that. They call it bad performance, but 98-yard drive made up for it all, so I don't know how that's bad performance.
Yeah, James Nook has it going 20-17.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Splash Brothers says he's going to play Madden, and it's going to be 99-0 Cowboys. Save this tweet.
Yeah, he said that last week, man. He said that last week.
So we got, of course, Lee. Jeff Lee to say 35-14. Jeff SoCal 34-13. So Glimmerman, he thinks Dallas is going to score 37. And of course, Angelica 28-23. She's going to be close.
Dude,
Got to give the respect.
This guy he's always stealing my thunder every week, man. You're killing me.
Yeah, he's 37-17. So
this was a tough game for me.
Go
Phil,
ahead.
I mean, I told you that this was the game I was worried about. But everybody in the chat last week, and everybody's talked me off the list. I have 3 dogs, so everybody says you're scared to get a dog. I already got a dog. I can't get another dog. So, listen, I think Dallas wins the game. Here's the final, Phil. Here's what's going to happen. As we know, it's Cowboys -4. I don't know what to think about that. That's right around, I guess, where it should be. I'm glad it's lower than higher. I thought it might be higher than that, but it just goes to show about the Jaguars. They're playing well. And they're hitting their stride. And we're playing them, like Mike says, not the most opportune time. But the fact that what happened last week, I think that's going to play into our favor. I think we're going to play with a 60-minute aggression that we need. It's Cowboys -4 and over 48. I have Dallas up, and I have Jacksonville scoring late to make it this. I have Cowboys 37 and Jaguars 30. It's a high-scoring game. I think that I don't think we're in doubt. I think, like every game, I think it's going to be close at halftime. When I say close, within one score, we'll probably be up a touchdown. But I think we are comfortable the whole game. So that's
Glimmerman wants to know,
Cowboys.
Brian, does Turpin deliver this week? Do you want to jump on that?
I'm not. I'm done with it.
I've been saying that every week.
Oh my God!
Well, that's funny. You said that. I've been calling for a return. I said that
he's going to do something this week.
That Houston's going to have to punt a lot last week, and that was the perfect week to get it, and then he fumbled. So I ain't saying nothing about it. That's why he said it. It's a joke. Lucky Gardenia's dashboard, 42-21.
Yeah, I mean, we got some good scores in here. We got a great crowd in here. Definitely, you got them going down memory lane because of course, man. We're all Cowboy fans coming from our childhood. We cheer for this team. It's a Friday night. I have to start getting ready for a party that I got to go to. So it's party weekend for me. So I'm living that Mike Tag life right now. But anyways, Mike, thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Obviously, I was
thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. We're gonna have Kelly K9 on next week.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, my boy.
Maybe I can get him to do a little Jerry for it.
Yeah. He's a good dude. So definitely. No, I appreciate it. Friday night's my time. I got 2 cameos I gotta finish, and then I gotta drop the hype video to get things.
Yeah, I was looking for the hype video.
So I'll be out.
Everybody look out for Mike Tag.
Yeah, just to let everybody know, if you look in the description,
give him a follow.
I have in the description. I have his link there, so you can follow him on Twitter. Hey, let people know if they haven't already where to find you, Mike.
Yeah, just mtag1993 on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. That's where I get most of my hate, so I do love that one. And then obviously you can look me up on YouTube at Mike Tag.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in, man. A lot of Cowboy Nations again. It's nice to see a fellow Cowboy fan in the sense of we have all different types on this show. We even have the negative ones. There's so we try to get a whole variety. So I trust me, man. It was an honor having you on here, and I hope you can come back sometime as well too. But anyways, anything you want to say, Game Time, before we get out of here?
Listen, we just need to get through this week. If the stars align and the Eagles slip up, in Chicago, which I'm telling you, we played the Bears, man. They're a physical football team. I wish they had their running back. I wish they had this. I wish they had that. But we shall see, man. It's going to be cold in Chicago. If they slip up and we win, then that just brings a whole other animal next week. Mm-hmm. I've been saying it for a month now. What I want for Christmas is for that game to be for first place. Now, if it's going to happen, I don't know. But the only way we have a chance is if we go out and beat Jacksonville on Sunday and go Cowboys. I think that's what's going to happen.
All right, well, Mike, go ahead and stay on. I'm going to hit the credits for the crowd, and we can talk a little bit afterwards. But again, everybody, I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate you guys, watching the replay as well. Hit the likes on the way out. Let me grab my bell here. But don't forget to always ring that bell.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and I thought that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Game Time Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.